Dragon Ball GT understood what made Dragon Ball special. It has connective tissue between its arcs. It sets up fights and character development that is a continuation from intrinsically understanding how our beloved characters grew up from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z. Sure, not everything is executed very well when it comes to Dragon Ball GT's pacing, but I think everything they developed on paper and everything that was iterated from, pen to paper is extremely well done. And I think nothing personifies this more than when Goku and the gang arrive on planet M2 and the fight that unfolds there. I think from its choreography to its environmental storytelling to its backstory beats and to its twists and turns, it is absolutely phenomenal. I actually think the blueprints that make up the story for this mini arc with General Rildo, Dr. Mew, and everything that happens on the Machine Mutant planet, and then actually connects forward onto the Baby Saga, is actually no short of genius. So essentially when the GT Warriors land on planet M2, Giru, which led them there in the first place, their companion, we find out that the backlore story of Giru is that he's an actual machine mutant himself, and that on this planet they want to capture the GT Warriors to study their DNA by a scientist called Dr. Mew. Now, Dr. Mew has a whole twist and turn of a story where his brain has been implanted of memories of thinking he was the creator of a future villain called Baby, when in fact it was Baby who actually instilled these memories in Dr. Mew to make him believe he made him so he could get him to do all his feats of engineering and everything that he needed to reoccur and make sure that he was reincarnated as a full creature, which actually came from a story of the Tuffles, who were the original planet Vegeta, who want revenge on the Saiyans for taking over their planet in the first place and recoining it planet Vegeta. So they actually made Baby, who actually made Mew, to bring Baby back. It's a whole thing. I really think it's actually quite amazing. But the purpose of M2 was that Baby used Mew as a puppet to construct planet M2's entire mechanical empire, building other machine mutants like General Rildo, solely to gather energy needed to fully incubate and restore Baby's physical body. Kind of similar to Majin Buu, how they needed energy to reincarnate him. And so this is actually where I think Dragon Ball GT is just phenomenal. So when we get to the planet, it has a very own unique style. You can really see that compared to something like Dragon Ball Super, everything is just this plain background JPEG. I mean, if you look at the Tournament of Power, just green mystical space. And I think for the entire show of Dragon Ball Super, we either had the Bulma's Capsule Corporation background in the worst iteration of just a very digitized looking image. We had the Tournament of Power background, just green foggy smoke in space. And we had the tournaments, so just a ring. There is nothing about these environments that gives us environmental storytelling. There's nothing about these environments that allow the fight to be more interesting. When Goku finds out the threat about General Rildo and he starts sensing his power, we see a Kakarot that really is indicative of how he was in Dragon Ball Z. He's assessing this threat as a fighting savant, and he understands the severity of a foe like General Rildo, who stop the threat naturally and get the Black Star Dragon Ball, which is also giving a sense of threat and purpose. If these guys don't do it, the planet will explode back home, and if they don't fight the threat that's in front of them, all their friends elsewhere are at stake, regardless of what happens on that planet, which I think is a great connective piece of tissue to add stakes to the fight in the first place. Now, one of the first things Goku's mentioned when starting this fight, and it's a big part of the power scaling, I love it, is he relates his power to something similar to Majin Buu, which gives us a great aspect to how far Goku has come since then, and he's fighting in his base form. Now, the other great thing about this planet is that we understand all the machine mutants and all the characters we met before. They're all part of one Leviathan of a creature that makes up the planet of M2. So we learn that General Rildo also has extra transformations that can be unfolded as time goes on. The great thing about this fight is the choreography of it and how they use the environment to tell this story. So from General Rildo being able to launch his hands off, for Goku to be dodging, the scene where Goku's head is grabbed by General Rildo as he starts punching blasts into his stomach. All of this creates such an excitement. And also, I mean, if you want to talk about the environmental storytelling aspects, when Goku finally takes the fight more serious and transforms into a Super Saiyan, it gives weight to Super Saiyan again. We're learning that just because Goku is stronger, he's still a multiplier of his base form. So Super Saiyan still carries this like immense weight to it, you know, it still feels important. And it still has that DNA that goes back to when he first transforms against Frieza and how powerful it is. And we see this always through the reflection of the foe he's fighting, the awe they have when he transforms, you know? They take note of it. And what I really, really love about this is as they are fighting and as the stakes rise and General Rildo uses the previous machine mutants that they were fighting beforehand and combines them with his own body. And again, it's that iterative tissue between the planet of M2, the machinery, and General Rildo. This is great character design here. This is great character lore. Do you know what I mean? You can really feel a sense of a lived-in world where they came from and how they evolved as a race and as a people. Not to mention the Dr. Mew and Baby twists that are brooding in the background to jettison forward the actual arc itself. And as Goku and Rildo are fighting, we're just treated to this like really just nice artwork. Do you know what I mean? It's very hand-drawn environment. There's this sense of a 3D fight happening because there's a part where Rildo sends Goku into the cinema of the planet of M2, and there's this light work and the fact it's changing the color palette of the scenes, and Goku's using the environment to try and trick Rildo and vice versa in the cinema, using the projector lights to hide and, you know, give them a technical advantage. This is a Dragon Ball that is still using martial arts and fighting savants and, you know, technicality to win a fight. It's not just about transforming into some random Super Saiyan Blue form that has no history, that has no reason for existing, that has no emotional weight to it. And even to the point where Goku gets thrown into these slushy machines and General Rildo is showing some of his powers, you know, freezing and turning the slushy machine that was shooting towards him into that metallic organism that would ultimately end up catching Goku and could, you know, destroy him, similar to Deborah's spit. And I think that is just incredible. I think when you're watching a fight like that, you are absorbed by every aspect of it. You're absorbed about what's going to happen in the future. You're absorbed by the fact that this technicality of the planet of the truffles in the past is related to the Saiyans, which is related to King Vegeta, which is related to Dragon Ball Z, which is the reason they're on a journey to go to a planet with the Black Star Dragon Balls to make sure they can save everything back home. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out this Dragon Ball GT video. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know down in the comments below. It's all just a bit of fun, right? It's all a subjective opinion. You can also check me out on twitch.tv/Steamy_streamers if you'd like to watch me play some Dragon Ball games and a lot of retro goodness. There's stakes of past, present, and future, and there's a narrative storytelling that is just absolutely connected all the way through, that gives its fight its purpose. And this is also the first time in Dragon Ball GT that we actually see Goku fight an enemy that is enough to stand up to him, to give him somewhat of a challenge. Now we know he has other transformations in the tank, but just beating General Rildo isn't enough because Goku has to figure out how to save Pan and Trunks as well. It's not just about defeating him. So ultimately he ends up getting captured. And then there's the double twist of Giru, you know, kind of helping them again, you know, becoming part of the fact that did he betray them in the first place, or was it a trick all along so they could actually get the Black Star Dragon Ball? And when this fight ends, it's, you know, it's not a very long fight, but I think it's one of the most aesthetically and memorable fights in all of Dragon Ball. And it's super impressive. And I think when it ends, the fact that this whole fight leads up into the idea of Dr. Mew and Baby and the revenge against the Saiyans and everything that happens with it is just phenomenally done. And the big twist of, you know, Baby actually created Dr. Mew, and Dr. Mew was creating the planet of M2 to create those resources to, you know, give Baby its life again and take revenge on the Saiyans. Like, that kind of parallel storytelling that was going on this whole time is a reason why I think, for me personally, I would watch Dragon Ball GT over Super any day of the week. Because quite frankly, I don't find it very interesting to see transformations that really don't have an emotional weight for them came out of nowhere and they're fighting in a big green void of death. I think this is the perfect case study of comparing how Dragon Ball GT and Toei understood what Akira Toriyama built on. And I know a lot of people say, look, Akira Toriyama wanted Goku to be sillier, X, Y, and Z. At the end of the day, you know, there's certain things we can look at that we subjectively like, and there's objective narrative choices that can make something better. And GT is far from perfect, but it's an imperfect show that captures the essence, the soul, and the characters of Dragon Ball, where Super doesn't manage to capture any of that essence, in my personal opinion. And I think it's a big reason to why it just feels so devoid of soul. Of course, it was a rush show put together, so artistically it's not that great either. But yeah, I don't know, I just struggle with it. And I think the fight between Goku and Rildo is a perfect case study of what makes Dragon Ball such an interesting show to watch, what makes the fights interesting. They're not fighting for the sake of fighting, they're fighting for the sake of a narrative story structure, for us to understand who Goku is, for us to understand the threat and the consequences of everyone's actions, and to understand what a good environmental world building of the planet of M2 and how they fight and use that environment around them to make a very interesting fight. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, you can check me out on Twitch, where I play lots of different games, and you can chat to me there as well. And if you did, be sure to drop a comment down below if you agree or disagree with me. You know what I mean? This is the fun thing about this. This is just my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. But let me know what you think. Thanks very much.